Well, hello, everybody, beings in the universe. Welcome to the Broadcast Team Alpha Sunday show, where we play in cutting edge discussions and explore the quantum possibilities with you. We are Broadcast Team Alpha. I'm your co host, Nori Love, along with my co host, who both happen to be authors, the world renowned Augie Nost, and Tom Schaefer is actually out on location on a special project, but I'm sure he's here with us in spirit. So we see you here, and we're so grateful. We see you here in your pajamas and your space suit and your favorite Sunday, and then whoa, and then there's you. It's okay. I'm a nurse. But we really want to thank you for being here, whether you're listening live or on the replay on the Broadcast Team Alpha YouTube channel. We so appreciate you and the energy that you contribute with your intention and attention. And we want to give a big thank you to the L&M Radio Network, to our amazing producers, Katie and Daryl Neely. And if you find it in your heart's highest good, please subscribe to L&M Radio or make a donation, because without you, there is no us. You can connect with us on the Broadcast Team alpha.com page. You can listen live, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel there. You just have to click the link. And if you'd like to connect with any of us personally, please use the contact page and we will be happy to connect with you. So, Augie, how are you today?
Well, I'm wonderful. That's what everybody tells me.
Yeah.
I believe them.
Oh, does everybody tell you that? Okay. So we've been talking, how do you follow up after having Bob Doyle on, right, from last week? But this is our last show in the universal law and law of attraction category. We have a different theme every month, so we'll have a nice surprising theme for you next month. And Bob was talking about it's a choice. It's a choice for us to show up in our lives the way that we want to. It's a choice for us to show up in the world the way that we want to. And the only thing that prevents us from doing that is, like Augie said before the show, is what's between our ears. It's the thoughts, it's the programs that run, it's the thoughts that run in our subconscious mind. It's that point of view that didn't necessarily belong to us, or it can also be called a paradigm. So what happens? We have these great ideas and we move toward the goal. We move toward, being ourselves, being you full out, and then something happens. And, you may notice that it's like a repeating cycle. Like you get close, and then bam, you fall down, and you get close and something happens, and you get close and you get sabotaged. And what happens is what Bob Proctor calls the terror barrier. And that's where all the do-overs happen, because the terror barrier is the part of you that gets nervous, right? It stimulates anxiety, fears, doubt, limitations. It stimulates that, right? Like it starts to get stirred up as we make the decision to just stand up and be us full out, to show up in the world the way that we want to. So there's ways, and we're going to talk about that, of how to overcome the terror barrier. And you may have noticed it if you were ever trying to lose weight, which is one of the things that I love working with people on. Or sometimes health, right? Relationships. You can see if you look back, you may see a theme. Like every time I lose X amount of pounds, then I gain it back in 5 pounds more, right? Or anytime I buy new clothes, then I'm back buying new clothes, but they're bigger. So getting over the terror barrier is a commitment. You can do it by having a commitment, a lifetime commitment to your daily practice, a daily practice of self-discovery and self-expression. We have to be committed to developing the parts of us on the other side of the terror barrier. And it's really easy. The terror barrier makes it seem like it's hard because it's scary. But Augie, I know we were talking about the Groundhog Day, the do-overs. What was that you were mentioning about the do-overs?
Oh, yeah.
Shh, sorry, the dogs are here with us today.
Shh. I love that.
Sorry, that was Beanie. Sorry.
I love that term, the Groundhog Day. Gosh, it is almost seems like Groundhog Day sometimes comes around, but there's different stuff in it. But it has a relationship to what happened yesterday or the week before, the month before, the year before, because they are, in concept, it's much the same, but there are different stuff in it. And I think we can change that by maybe throwing the groundhog overboard. Maybe that could help, because we can actually do that, because it really, like I said before the show, it all depends on what's between our ears, because most people,
Right.
they spend more time planning their vacation than they do planning their life. And that's just ranks right up there with the village idiot. So we got to change that. And what I'm thinking is that looking back at some of what I saw in my download is that the planning of the future of what is to be or become later, that can happen now, but much of it has happened before. In fact, some of that planning happens before we create this body we walk around in. That comes from the arrangements that was done before we took on physical form.
Right. So let me ask you one question. So you're saying that some of Groundhog, I got stuck on the village idiot. Wait a minute. Yeah, it totally derailed me. So, and you know what? It's not the village idiot. It's that we are in the process of unfolding. We are in the process of learning. But what I'm just trying to be clear, what you're saying is that some of those things that hold us back or derail us or our Groundhog Day are agreements that we made at another time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that could very well happen, because we come here for a purpose. And we will be led to or guided towards that purpose. And the purpose may be a grand one, or it could be smaller things, like maybe of service to somebody in the family all our lives. So we will learn how it feels and how it progresses to be of service to others. It may not look that big in the scope of the world, but it is very important and big for the purpose of that soul coming in here to learn certain things, because that's what was the purpose. So,
right.
And to get around that and bypass that's a little different. That can be done, but maybe that is for another time when we get into more detail on that. But we should plan ahead more and consider that maybe some of the things that we're going through was already planned before we came here.
Right. And it may be planned, right? But we have the capacity, we have the power, we have the will to change it. And changing it doesn't have to be hard. So in life, no matter where you believe, right, Groundhog Day comes from, or derailing, or sabotage, or roadblocks, no matter where we believe roadblocks come from, we have the power to change them. We have the power to choose to change them. The trick is, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do it with a lot of struggle and a lot of, sweat and a lot of drama, or do you want to do it with peace and ease? We actually get to choose that.
Yeah, we do. Actually, that's I'm glad you said that, because I got to add something to what I just said before, is that the agreements that we came here with, they can be changed, not at the physical level, but the level of the mind, which is outside of the physical. So yes, we can change that. We can redirect that future if we plan it correctly and use the spiritual language in order to create that future, because that request for a different line into the future goes out of the physical, where basically the physical language is not working that well. He's got to have the spiritual language and to speak in the terms of emotion, love, gratitude, that. So words are basically worthless once you get outside of the physical. So we need to speak in the language that the universe understands.
Right. So words are good, right? Because they inspire us. Words are good because they inspire us to speak the language of the universe that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
They inspire us.
I know I have words that just feel. Go ahead.
Yeah, they inspire us in the physical. But in communication with, actually, it can inspire us to create emotion, which is part of the universal language in the physical, so that it transcends into the universal language. So that will help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It can inspire us to feel things differently. It can inspire us to see things differently. I mean, I know if I wake up in the morning and say, I am an unlimited, multidimensional being, that gives me a whole new set of lenses to look at my world with today. So those words, and even if I didn't kind of believe it because I woke up, with cranky pants, then then at least
I didn't know
I'm in a better.
I didn't know you knew how to do that.
What?
Wake up cranky.
Do what? All right. So, yeah, we're human, right? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So, cranky pants is part of the agreement, that we made before we came here. So words, can help us shift our vibration, and then help us shift our point of view, and then help us to shift the images that we have in our mind. And that's not going to throw the groundhog overboard, but it's going to just like slide the groundhog out and replace it with amazing things that feel good and that inspire us to take action, so that we show up in the world the way that we want to.
Yeah. Yeah, and this actually is a lot simpler than what we think. Now, I didn't say easy, but I said simple. It isn't easy because there's a little bit of effort on our part, but it is really simple. Once we start doing something and we keep doing it, we're going to find that hardly nothing can outperform persistence.
Exactly. And that's circling back to what we said in the beginning, that it's a daily commitment. It's a lifetime commitment to a daily practice of self-discovery and self-expression.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even if we started with just 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day, that can make a monumental change in our life. That can help us to build momentum in the direction of our dreams. And it's only a little bit of time, but it's so powerful. We kind of moved off of the path of the terror barrier. So before we do that, the terror barrier gets stirred up, and that's anxiety and fears and doubt. And it just stirs up our nervous system. So we have to have a conscious plan on how we're going to soothe our nervous system, how we're going to soothe the body. So, little things like going for a walk or watching a movie or doing some yoga or doing breathing. Breathing is, doing conscious breathing or pranic breathing is some of the best medicine you can ever take. So we have to have a plan, and that has to be included in our daily practice, to have the plan, right? So when something comes up, you're like, oh, I know what I can do here. And that little bit of effort, like you said, Augie, helps us move to us standing in the full expression of who we came to be. And
Yeah.
that what feels better than that?
Hmm. Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the breathing, because we really don't understand how important that is. You try to quit that for a while and see what happens, you know? And the thing is that once we do, there's yogic breathing, or there is meditative breathing exercises, it floods the blood with oxygen. And that oxygen gets in the brain, and it wakes up areas in the brain that normally don't have enough oxygen to actually do its job. So once we
Absolutely. There's
breathing, let's say, this is something my martial art master told me decades ago. He says, if you do this one thing, you will never be sick in your life. And I did that thing, and I've really never been sick in my life. And the thing is that, yeah, once we flood the blood with oxygen, first of all, we'll kill off all the bacteria and virus in the physical body, but it also wake up the part of the brain that funnels the mind through it, so it can create in the physical with you. Am I onto something there, Nori?
yeah, absolutely. The blood carries the oxygen to your brain, and that gets increased, and it like flushes out the cobwebs and the cosmic cobwebs and cobwebs you may not even have known were there. But that's one of the single best tools that we can use.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
And
we're talking about. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm thinking also that a lot of the listeners, they are thinking, let's say that they have not done any exercises like this before, and they ask themselves, self, how do I start? Well, maybe we could just mention a few things about that. How do we start something like this to wake up the part of the brain that allows the mind to really work more effectively in our physical existence?
Well, I mean, you just gave it away. You asked the question, right?
Yeah.
So once you ask, you have begun. You've started. You ask the question, and your brain, even if it's not getting that much oxygen to it or not, is going to give you the answer. Your spirit and your soul are going to join together, and they're going to bring you the answer. Um, so that's the beginning. The beginning starts with you ask, and then you decide to create an intention, right? So you get some information, you get some feedback, how do I start? Then you get some information and you create an intention. So what's your intention? I want to get blood to my brain. You don't even have to go into all of the reasons why, or the biochemistry of it, or the energeticness of it. You just make the intention. I want to get more blood to my brain. And make a note, right? Write it with a bar of soap on your mirror. Right? Just or put a sticky note on your mirror. Soap works better because it won't slide off like a sticky note will, but have a trigger, have a tickler to remind you to do it. And it's okay if you forget, because you're learning something completely new. So you remember the first day, you remember the second day, the third day, you're late for work, you got to get blasting out, then you get home and you're like, oh God, I forgot it. And then the next day you go in and you do all the stuff you do in the bathroom before you go to work, but you actually don't even see it. It's okay. This is, we never get it done, and we are always getting it right. So that you may miss 2 days, it's okay. You're in the process of building a new commitment, a new lifetime habit, and that takes a little bit of time. So maybe, I mean, my intentional jewelry is created for that. It's for people to be reminded of their intention. Of course, the intention can always change, but I'm just saying to have something that triggers you to remember, right? You can think about, I mean, you can commit that when you walk through thresholds, because how many doors do we walk through a day? You'll think of your intention. So it's really easy. So you ask, you create an intention, and then you take action by thinking about the intention. All you have to do is think about it. You could write it 3 times. There's magic to picking up the heavy pen and just writing, right? And write it in the present tense. I have more blood to my brain. I have more blood to my brain. I have more blood to my brain. Or, I mean, there's probably a more poetic way to say it, but it can be that simple. And you can write it sloppy. It doesn't matter. What matters is the energetic, what would the word be? The energetic pie that you're creating, right? You're putting all the ingredients in.
Yeah.
So by asking, and then by creating your intention, and then by remembering to take it out of the oven before it burns, right? So we're creating a pie, and the pie is going to be the realization of what you've desired. So it can be fun, and it can be easy, and it can be silly. You know, it doesn't have to be hard. But I did want to mention that if anybody, since this is the last show on the universal and law of attraction, if anybody would like to call in and talk with us, the number is 202-559-7943, 202-559-7943. And, you know, the second part, it might be part B, of the last step is to get a vision, right? However you would imagine the vision of getting more blood to your brain. So I personally wouldn't be thinking about the structure of the brain and the ventricles and the gray matter. I wouldn't be thinking about all that. I would be thinking about the end result. I would see myself being clear and being inspired and getting new ideas and feeling, you know, more energetic, and realizing that I'm going into new realms of thought, you know, because so we get the vision, and the vision about envisioning how envision weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
If you're calling it, right, it's kind of taken a new car or a better car, envisioning it is so important. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, and we need. You're buffering quite a bit there, but what I would need also is reminders. Reminder to think about that vision of the future, because we need to fuel that vision ever so often. And that's why on my computer I have little sticky notes glued to the screen, and one of them says 2 minutes. That means to me like a 2-minute meditation. So that tells me that ever so often I'll sit down, I'll just close my eyes and go into a 2 to 5 minute meditation, and that'll do it. And I also have I have another sticker that says 20 breaths. And that is that I sit down, take 20 deep breaths until I get dizzy, and then I just let it go. That floods the brain with oxygen. This is what I do. And we can develop our own little triggers of reminders that can help us visualize that future that we want. And once we have created that future in vivid, colorful pictures with emotion, gratitude for already feeling like you have it, and put love into it so that you see other people in there with you enjoying that thing that you would want, or that situation that you would want. Because the universe is a giving thing, it's not a getting thing. So we should enjoy it with others. It should, when we even prayers should be done for at least 3 or more people. Just don't be just selfish. Even if it is something that it concerns only you, but we can also somehow find how it would benefit others if we would get what we would want. So there are ways to fill the other people's around us, fill their life also with joy from what we get. And that is in fact very important when it comes to universal law, to spread the love around.
And so let's use that example. We were talking about getting blood to your brain. So how would that benefit others? So you would be more present with your significant other or your family or your friends. You might be funnier, right? Because all of a sudden you're coming up with all these cool ideas because the cobwebs are getting moved out. So absolutely adding how your goal would benefit others is really, really important. And then, when you move into creating the intention for you showing up in the world the way that you want to, part of the questions that you answer is why. Why do I want to do that? And inevitably, when you go through your why, you'll suddenly realize what a benefit you are to society and your family and the people that love you. What a gift you are to the universe. Like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're on the planet right now. You truly, everybody, every single person has something that's going to benefit a greater good. Even if you feel like your gift is praying for people, right? People may not know you're doing that, but and the impact that it makes on the person, that goodness, that kindness, that healing ripples out into the universe, and it adds to the healing of the planet. It adds to the goodness of the planet. So absolutely, discovering how it will help others is such an important step.
I think that my experience with this is that once we know what, and we got to know what, that's at least it helps. And then why. Why is absolutely necessary. Because if you want something in the future, but you really don't know why you would want it, why do we even want to go for it? So if we had the what and the why, we don't worry about the how, because that's the universe's job. That is not necessarily our job to decide how it happens, as long as when things start happening, we'll just help to make things happen. That's all we have to do.
Yes. And the how is actually one of those things that derails us. That's one of those things that makes Groundhog Day continuing to happen. Because when we go into the how, we inevitably go into, I don't know where that's going to come from. Okay, so that's doubt.
Yeah.
What if it doesn't really happen? I can't do this. That's fear. Right? Yeah. You can already go into disappointment because you're doubtful and fearful.
So yeah, we all make mistakes like that. You caught me in one right before the show, and I enjoyed you saying that, because even though we may be working with these things and even teaching them, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. And
it's not really a mistake. It's an unfolding.
Yeah.
I mean, mistake has a certain connotation that we did something wrong. So it's an unfolding, it's an uncovering. It's the lotus petals opening, right? Like, oh, wow, I used to be doubtful, but that petal opened. I used to be frightened, that petal opened. I used to be anxious, but that petal is opening. So it's not really a mistake. It's just, we never get it done and we never get it wrong. So we just have fun with it. And I see that it's time for a break. So we are going to turn you over to our amazing producer, who's going to do our break programming. And we will be back in 3 or 4 minutes with more discussion on the wrap up for the law of attraction and the universal laws.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
Data. The sensors can't penetrate the planet's ionosphere. There's too much interference. Can you find a way to scan for life forms?
I would be happy to, sir. I just love scanning for life forms. Life forms. You tiny little life forms. You precious little life forms. Where are you?
Even the ETs know this is the place to be. L&M Radio Network.
You can listen to the L&M Radio Network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the Paranormal Radio app. Available from lnmradionetwork.com or TalkStreamLive.com on both Android and Apple. Our call to listen line is open 24/7. Dial 701-719-9704 so you can listen on the go.
Ever wanted to be sure your robot slave was behaving? Is Echo getting out of control and meeting with Alexa when you're not around? You need RoboGrog. RoboGrog is the new product from Snooze You Lose, the company that also brought you the fine products of Flog a Horse and Calm You Down Now. RoboGrog will put your robotic minions to sleep, bringing their AI a sense of peace and comfort. It does this by sending bolts of electricity straight where the sun doesn't shine. Get RoboGrog today at any fine retailer and set yourself free from the devices that bind you.
You can't just throw someone into prison and silence their warning because you don't agree with them. You don't have to like my methods or what I stand for. Silencing me won't make the problem go away. It will just whittle away at the ability of people to be ready for the real threats. And when the worst happens, and it will, maybe you can take comfort in protecting the people from a dangerous radical who wanted to tell them the truth.
Tired of searching for great talk and great information? Look no more. L&M Radio Network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back home, there's a growing pro-Earth movement. Rumors of hate groups targeting aliens. And on all sides, the fanatics think that society has to be protected against anyone who's different. I'm starting to wonder if what we just saw is a preview of things to come.
Oh, I can't believe we'd be that foolish.
Santayana. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Welcome back, everybody. We are Broadcast Team Alpha on the Sunday show. We are wrapping up our theme for the month, Law of Attraction and the Universal Laws. And before we went to break, we were talking about the benefit of and your intention, right? And your intention is what you would like to have happen. And Augie, you were talking about answering answering our why, right? So whatever it is that we want, right? If we want to change our body shape, our body form, our health, if we want a new car, if we want a new job, if we want to write that book or launch that movie or get picked up, for a starring role, or, whatever it is that you want, or, maybe you just, maybe you just want a couple $1 million, I don't know, or a raise, whatever it is, when we envision it, it adds fuel to it. It adds power to it. It launches out into the universe like the 4th of July. And as long as we don't get in the way of receiving it, right, which is all the lack and the fear and the limitations that we talked about, it's going to come to us and it's going to happen. But let's just talk a little bit about the power of envisioning, the power of, seeing, imagining, or feeling that thing that we want. Like my friend just, I love how the law of attraction works, just sent me a text that she's a fat burning machine. Now, envision that, right? So she's probably working out and sweating or whatever. And that is a power. Those are powerful words to create a vision. I'm a fat burning machine. How many people would like to be that, right? Everything that you eat automatically gets burned. So then you have the body that you desire. Really powerful. How does it feel? What does it look like, right? How are you moving through life, right? Just get a vision of it, and like test drive it, just like you test drive a car. So that was your example, Augie, right? If you want a new car, you can go test drive it, right? Tell us more about that.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you, there is nothing that is better than a new car smell. Nothing.
It's up there. Yeah.
And yeah, the thing, let's say that your car is on the last leg, it's smoking, it's using oil, and maybe one of the headlights are not working. Don't even think about that. Just love the car. Whenever you get in it, tell the car you'll love it, and then you drive down to the dealership and test drive a new one. And just visualize, take the brochures with you home and look at the brochures of the one you want and just put that up on your vision boards or wherever you would keep it, in the bathroom mirror. Just keep looking at it and visualizing that thing and intending for it, loving it already, and feel gratitude for already having it. Now, it may not happen exactly the way you have envisioned it, but you may end up with a new one slightly different, but you will end up with a new one. And I say will, because if you keep doing this, universal law is constant. It is repeatable. It is actually something you can rely on. It is there. If you keep thinking about all the bad things you have in the old car, yeah, that's the one that's going to stick with you because it's in your mind. Your mind creates your surroundings and your existence in the physical. So there's
exactly
about
that's so good. Yeah, and if the vision of feeling the leather steering wheel, in your hands, or if the imagining of the new car smell, is a little too out there, scale it down to something that is manageable for you. I mean, you could call Thunder at Helidium Labs, right, and get a hologram for your car, and that may take the pressure off your mind. That that things are not going well, or get a hologram for you, and he's creating quantum mechanics, quantum physics holograms. And this is going to be for another show, because this will take us down a road that we won't even have enough time for today. But the point is to do something to ease, right, any angst or any fear or anything that's getting in your way, that's blocking the new car from coming to you. So if that means meditating or breathing or getting a hologram or thinking, thinking what is possible? What is possible? Well, maybe, I will have a sudden influx of money and I can repair what's going on now. Just that relief from the tension or from being, kinked up energetically, just that little bit of relief will connect you to the vision and open the pathway for the universe to bring you that new car. So envisioning is so powerful. And if you enlist the assistance of your senses. So I would even invite you right now just to take a breath. Oh, come on now, take a deeper breath. And then just release it. There's such deliciousness with just, taking that deep breath, and there's almost like a certain amount of tension, and then just let it go. Like, there's so much power in that. So just take a breath and think about that thing that you're really desiring. Just think about it. Just get a mental image or get a feeling of it. Just think about it. And then breathe as you think about it. And then just go into all of the possibilities, like what does it look like? So you can be looking at it from a distance. You could be looking at it from standing on a mountaintop, right? So then it's just going to be this little thing. Or you can look at it through a microscope. So what perspective do you want to use to look at it? Find the perspective that is so perfect for you and is so appealing to you, and it gives you that deep satisfaction and that deep sense of peace and ease. Look at it from that perspective. So it could be your body, it could be your health, it could be your relationship, it could be finances, it could be the car, the job, the movie, whatever it is, just dial it into focus. Dial it into the focus that's perfect for you. So how does it feel? Imagine dropping yourself into that scene. How does that feel? Think of all of the sensual and tactile experiences that happen in that thing that you really desire that is coming to you. Do you feel vibrant? Do you have more energy? Do you feel a sense of freedom? Do you have that amazing feeling that comes with creating something where you're just flowing creative energy? So as you see yourself in the vision, really go into the feeling of it. So you could feel it from the mountaintop, or you can feel it from the microscope. Dial into focus where you want to feel it. What sounds accompany this vision, this manifestation? Because right now, if you're doing this or if you do it later, the energy that you are right now is actually drawing that to you. So what sounds accompany it? Is it you singing? Are you laughing? Are you whispering, oh, hell yeah? What are the sounds that accompany? Do you hear kids playing? Do you hear the birds? Is there a dog barking in the distance? Do you hear the cool wind rushing through the trees? Just dial into the sounds. Do you smell the scent of fresh cut grass or lavender, lime, flowers? What scents are associated with that? Do you have your favorite perfume or cologne on, your favorite body lotion? Do you smell the scent of that person that you love more than anything? Dial that into focus. What tastes are associated with it? The taste of fresh water, What does freedom taste like to you? What does creativity, self-expression taste like? Are you drinking your favorite drink or eating a crisp apple? You know that sound that it makes when you bite into it and it's so juicy? So just focus in, dial in the taste of your manifestation that's moving to you. And as you do all of these, as you do one of, Groundhog Day can't come back because you are completely open. If you've done this and you're feeling relaxed and you've envisioned it, and even, like you might have been there, you might have fallen out, it's okay. You are still in the energetic flow, connecting to that thing that you really, really desire. And that thing is actually moving toward you. All you have to do is change your energy for 17 seconds in order to connect with the manifestation. All you have to do is change your thoughts for 17 seconds. So you could use something like this. You could use something like the things that we highlighted during the show earlier. And then if you can hold it for 68 seconds, you are so connected to the manifestation of your thoughts taking shape that it actually begins moving toward you. And this is classic Abraham Hicks law of attraction. So how are you feeling, Augie? I heard you exhale. That sounded like a good exhale.
Yeah, and I inhaled too.
I trust that happened before the exhale, yeah.
Yeah, this was good because now we can get a little of an example of what we would do when we sit down and close our minds down, except for thinking about what we want and visualizing, having gratitude for already having it, intending it, and loving it into existence. And that is the key, because I've had a saying that I've been using for God knows 3 decades or more, and that is that worry is organized negative thinking. And that's why one of the things that we are worried about, let me get back to that car. Well, it's not that good a car anymore, but we're worried about it quitting on us. Well, we shouldn't worry about that. Time is a wild card. But once we are visualizing and going through the motion of creating it in our mind and in the universal mind, where we pull it from into our physical existence, things should be there on its time. It is created for us on the basis of what we create in the mind first. So we need to know that in our heart, that first I created in the mind and then it happens in the physical. So there we go again. We spend more time planning a vacation than we do our life sometimes, and we got to turn that equation around. And that means me looking at my screen here, it says 2 minutes and it takes 20 breaths. And I have several other things that whenever I see them, I remember, that's right, I'll do it. Only take 20 seconds. Some of these things that I have sticky notes on take just 20 seconds. Well, maybe a minute. And that is my reminder to stay on track and doing things. Otherwise, I can get engrossed in something and lose myself and forget to do some of these things that I know is necessary for me to advance.
Mm-hmm. And if this is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's how I do it. Other people may do it different. But I'm just telling you what I do. And it seems to work for me.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I think people who may not have done this before, it is a leap of faith. You know, it is a leap of faith. But
Yeah.
once you feel the feeling of having done it, and the faith and the trust that it instills in you, I don't even imagine that you would not want to continue doing that. So it's a matter of just starting. The law of attraction is always working, whether you believe it or not. If you think it's not working, you're correct. So I would just like to mention the other 12 universal laws, since we'll be wrapping this up. And there's the law of divine oneness. Everything is connected to everything else. So what we think, say, do, believe does have a corresponding effect on others and around the universe. So that was that ripple effect that I mentioned when you focus in on how your why benefits others. Then there's the law of vibration, right? Everything in the universe moves and vibrates. It travels in circular patterns. That's why I kept speaking of the spiral when I spoke of Groundhog Day. And when you're on that circular pattern, two things are going to happen, or can happen. You're either going to contract or you're going to release. And when you contract, that's when you block the flow of all of those amazing things, your intention, your manifestation from coming to you. And that's how just doing a little, sensual, because we used all of the senses, visualization can help you to expand, to release and expand. And in that expansion, in that trust, in faith, in that breath, you are open to your manifestation coming to you. There is the law of action, which Augie mentioned. We would not action where you have to wrench something in. Like if you're wrenching something in, or if your gut is tight while you're taking action, that's probably not the right action. That the law of action is inspired action. It's the actions that support our thoughts and our dreams, our emotions and our words. There's the law of correspondence, and this law states that the principles or the law of physics explains everything in the physical world. Everything is energy, light, vibration, motion. They all have corresponding principles in the etheric or the universe. And this is where, you may have heard this, as above, so below comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens outside the universal laws. Every action, including thought, has a reaction or a consequence. And this is where the we reap what we sow comes into play. There's the law of compensation. That's the universal law that when applied, we see the visible effects of our deeds. So our deed would be thinking of how our why benefits other people. That's a gift, right? Us being us full out is a gift that we are given. And in return, we are compensated. There's the law of attraction that we've been talking about for the last 3 shows. There's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Nutshell on this one is that we all have within us the power to change the condition of our lives. We have that power, and it begins by making the choice. There's the law of relativity, that each of us will meet with challenges. We're going to meet with contrasts. Some people think that they're tests or lessons. Some people think that we call them to us because it makes us think of greater possibilities. When we have a test or when we have something that's uncomfortable, we are back to what Augie said. We're back to the beginning where we ask, how can it get better than this? How can I solve this? What else is possible? There's the law of polarity, that everything on the continuum has an opposite. There's the law of rhythm. Everything vibrates and moves to certain rhythms. There's the law of gender, and that is the law that manifests in all things as masculine and feminine, right? So it governs, right, the law of creation. The law of gender manifests in the animal kingdom as sex. It's the law that decrees everything in nature is both male and female, and both are required for life to exist. So if anybody is having their energy flow cut off today because they're feeling like they don't fit in because about their choice or the way that they relate or the way that they express their gender, this is your get out of jail free card. You are perfect just the way that you are. And I had no idea that I had no idea that I would go here, but I feel like there's somebody specific that needed to hear that today. So those are the laws, and we're going to be finishing up in a few minutes. Augie, this was fun. Any closing comments on the past month?
Well, I got one comment that I have exercised in years past, and when I hear something good, I don't hear it just once. I go back and re-hear it. I listen to it again, and if it's really good, I listen to it again and again, because that way it puts layers of good knowledge into my subconscious that gets right on top of some of those negative subconscious mind programs that seems to trip us up once in a while. So if you like what you heard, listen to it again, because it'll do even better the second time.
That's a really good point. And I know from being a perpetual student that I go back and I read things again. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've watched movies again and again. And each time I do that, I see that there was something that I didn't see the first time, the second time, the fifth time. So that's such a great example. And, if the law of attraction and, the discussion of the universal laws and manifesting are interesting to you, Augie and I are going to be having a mastermind group. And a mastermind group is where we come together with like-minded people in order to create something amazing. It will fuel your personal intentions and your personal manifestations, but we will have a like-minded goal. Like Thunder and Dr. Fantastic are focused on Fukushima. I mean, that's a goal that's very passion inspiring to a lot of people. So it could be something like that, or it could be, health, or it could be anything that we decide is possible. So be on the lookout for our announcements. It will be on the Broadcast Team Alpha Facebook page and on our website. So I hope to see you there. It's going to be fun. Augie, what do you think?
Oh, it's going to be very, very educational and very fun, because this is something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Create a big one where we can get a lot of mind power working in one direction to create wonderful things for both us and mankind.
How does it get better than that?
Yeah.
I don't even want to dilute that with saying anything else except we'll see you next week.
All right.
We'll see you next week on the Sunday show. Thanks so much, Augie. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Katie. Everybody have a great day and a great week.